Okay, guys, we're back with you one more time with Mr. Kendell Jones, and we just finished up our series with the church, and now we wanted to talk about the school at Lowe's Crossroads, which Kendell attended when he was in elementary school. So we are currently at the spot where the school was, and I will see if I can flip it here. Maybe I can't. We're at the intersection of Carey's Camp Road and Route 24, where it crosses. So this is where we are, and the school would sort of be right here to the right, which is nothing now but a power line and a bunch of briars and some trees. And of course, the school would have not been here at the time the power line was. That was brought in after. I'm not sure exactly what year. But I've got Kendell here, and he's going to explain to us what he remembers as a child attending this school. He's going to talk about his teachers and who knows what else. So we're sitting in the car, so it's a little different than our most video, but we don't have to worry about the road noise that way. And of course, we got Matt and Don on the back seat if we need any help. So Kendell, we're going live here. So what do you remember? What did you like to share about the school?
Well, I went to first grade here in 1932, and I don't know how many other pupils were here at the time, but I can think there were at least maybe 3 other first graders at the time. The first school laws in Delaware were in 1929. And this said that a community could tax themselves, build a schoolhouse, hire a teacher, and be part of the system. I don't know what year this organization, because the earliest records show that it's a combination of several other schools. The schools were numbered by the county I suppose, as they were erected. But anyway, this school was number 80, but it was a combination of several other districts. I don't know of any what these other districts were, but it says that number 38, number 39, and number 40 were added in 1881. The building that I knew, I don't know if it was the original building, but it was probably the architecture's the style of 1880s or somewhere in that period. It was built as a 2-room school. It was just 1 room by the time I went to school. And we were on, all 6th grades were on the 2nd floor. First floor was not occupied. The building was not in very good shape. It was unpainted. I remember broken windows on the first floor. But anyway, there was you went into a vestibule, and there was a pump and a pump bench to your left, and there was a communal tin cup, which we all used. I don't remember much sickness. I don't remember being absent any sick days in that year. But Mr. Walter Short was the teacher at that time, and the school closed in 1943, and they consolidated with Laurel. Earlier, that had grades when it was a 2-room school through grade 8, I understand. But in 1932, there were only 6 grades there. 2 neighbors, Jack Harrison and Preston English, were a grade ahead of me. They both went on to graduate from Laurel High School in 1943, and I was in the class of 44. There was a wood stove up on the second floor, and there was the vestibule extended upstairs, and there was a wood box, and the older boys and the teacher, I remember, filled the wood box and filled the stove. The stove was kind of near Mr. Short's desk, but it was a drafty building, as I recall. The first rows of seats were left empty, and as your class was called, you went to the front of the seated area, and Mr. Short would conduct your class. I don't remember about what we did at lunchtime because, not many of us had sliced bread or prepared lunch meat or something for lunch. I think that the only thing I remember maybe having was sausage on biscuits at some time. And I thought, well, that was a long time before McDonald's had that on their menu. We had recess, I think maybe twice a day. It seems to me the older kids might have played ball, hopscotch, or whatever you could do with this little bit of ground that was available to us. There were two privies, one for the boys and one for the girls. And I remember the older boys, a couple of them, Charles West maybe and Alton Baker, rode ponies to school and tied them up there beside the woods. So that was a kind of a big deal for the older boys. There was no music classes, no art classes. I don't remember ever holding a crayon or singing a song there. I don't think I missed very much. That was additions that I went to Laurel School in the second grade. I don't know much of the details of that other than I remember a conversation saying, well, all he talks about is what the older kids are doing. So anyway, I did go to Laurel School at the second grade.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. So you live, the direction that the camera's facing beyond you is sort of direction where you lived about a mile probably as the crow would fly from here. So how would you get here in the morning?
I walked to school. Now, these new school laws of 1929 say that a child should never walk more than 2 miles to school. I walked to school, and as a 6-year-old, I don't remember ever having a ride. Of course, not a car would pass me on the way to school. There just weren't that many cars back in this part of the country in 1932. So we walked, whether it was sunshine or rain or whatever. But all the kids did the same, and I suppose in the opposite direction would have been Charles West going on. In this direction would have been the furthest down. And the line, as I recall, between this district and Jones School was about somewhere just past Cornelius West properties, and that was going back to Jones School, which the Collins families and many others from close by here went to earlier. That was established in 1940 and closed in 1929 when it consolidated with Gumboro, and then of course that continued with Millsboro School. 1921 was the new high school in Laurel, and that was also the beginning of, well, this route as we know it, Route 24 today, and the beginning of busing, taking country kids into high school into Laurel. Route 24, in my first memory, was a 9-foot road, which means it was just paved for one driveway. The other side was a packed heavy dirt. I think the right-of-way was coming west, from Laurel. So the person coming out to Lewis Crossroads would have the right-of-way to be on the stone road. If you were going towards Laurel and that's them, then you pulled over on the dirt section to meet.
I never knew that. I've never heard that before. It's interesting.
I don't know when it became dual road, but I do remember very well in a Model T going to Laurel in one way, and sometimes you would have to pull over onto the dirt section.
Mm-hmm.
The first, I keep meaning to, but I've never tried to find out from the state highway when it was paid for the 9-foot road, and of course we always referred to it as the stone road. If you were trying to give directions or whatever, it was from the stone road, which way did you go? Back to school, ultra short, in my memory, I thought it was, I got a good education there, and I thought I kind of had the best of both worlds by starting there and then maybe going into the town kids. And of course the bus, I had an older brother and sister who were already going to Laurel School, but they had gone here to Lewis Crossroads when it was a 2-room school. I don't know about these other schools that are mentioned as being part of the combination that made Lewis Crossroads. I do know that sometime in the 20s, this was called St. Jones School. And
St. Jones or St. John's?
St. John's.
St. John's, that's right, okay.
The earliest school directory I have, state of Delaware, is for 1922, 1923. And this lists all the schools, and I just thought I had a mark here, what it says for Lewis Crossroads School. I was trying to read, thought I can't see it. Sorry.
I think it's about a third of the way down it was, but it mentions the teachers and what the...
Yeah, I was going to give you the school board.
One was in English, I remember. I took a picture of it anyway.
Lewis Crossroads. For the year, that had 3 board members. Just can't get it.
Can't read it? That's fine. Well, I'll take a picture. I took a picture of it and I'll share it.
Yeah,
and then they can see it.
And anyway, there were 3 board members and 1 teacher in that year.
Now, Mr. Short, I've heard stories when I talk about him. Several people's told me that Walt Short, I guess on the side, had a bull that he would take around. For everybody anyone that needed a bull, I guess he had this bull that he would load up or walk to. I don't know how he would get it to you, but
I've heard those stories too. He never brought it to school. And I think when they closed here, which I guess must have been 1943, if that was here at Consolidated with Laurel, I think he finished out his career at Gumboro and maybe was principal there. It was a several-room school.
So Walt Short, just for those listening, he would have lived at the end of Lowe's Crossing Road where you would stop and turn right to go to Gumboro.
That's right.
And his daughter-in-law, then his son would have been Herman and Louise Short. But Louise told me that he lived, I think he collected 2 Social Security checks before he died. She specifically remembered that. That's what he collected before he died. So he must have died fairly young. Well, maybe in his 60s, but I don't know how old you had to be to collect Social Security back then.
I do remember that he and Mr. Carmel Moore from Laurel did get their degrees from the University of Delaware, which might have been in the 50s or 60s or somewhere along there. And so all those years they've been going to summer school and whatever to get accredited as teachers.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting. So I don't have anything else. Now, Don's in the back seat. Don's father, right, Don, your father?
Yes.
Attended this school, and we have a sketch that Kendell also drew of what he thought the school, what he remembered the school looking like at that time. So it sort of looked like that. You said it was a 2-story building, correct? 2-story.
2-story building.
But you only stayed on you only went to the 2nd floor.
At the time I went, we were only using the second floor.
Right, okay.
You went into a vestibule here, and then there were steps across the back that took you up to a vestibule upstairs. There was a bell up in the little tower,
bell tower, okay.
and the rope hung through to the 2nd floor where it could be. It was pulled for the start of school and after lunch break.
Okay. So Don, did you have another picture you wanted to share before we wrap this up? I'll put this up here. All right, tell me what we're looking at here.
This is a booklet, front and inside, on the right-hand side there, that teachers would hand out to their students each year. It's a picture of the teacher, and at the bottom is inside the book, and that one says Christmas 1918.
Yep.
And St. John's School, the teacher's name and the commissioner's name and the pupils' names.
Okay.
And my father's on the lower right there, Elmer Ward.
Elmer, yeah.
Was one of his later years here. He was born in 1903.
So it's sort of like a Christmas card they would give you at Christmas time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of a memento. It's a fancy thing, and you can see the photograph at the top. It kind of had a little piece of yarn holding a couple pages together.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of a fancy thing.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing from the back seat. Okay, Kendell, we appreciate all this info you've helped us with. And
why they moved the school?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm sorry, we forgot this. So, most people I talk to do not remember the school being here where it is, and I actually asked Kendell one day if he would stop and show me exactly where it was. And when he showed me, I was sort of surprised because everyone else remembered it being just up the road a little bit, going towards Lowe's Crossroads, right before you would get to the curve. So Kendell cleared that up, and that's how it ended up here. And I guess someone they obviously moved it. And Don, you said you think people actually lived in the building after it was moved, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's my understanding, talking to one of the longtime residents of the area, that somebody lived in it after it was moved, but it never had children after it was moved.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'd be interested in hearing from Kendell. Why was it moved?
I have no idea, and I don't know. I assume someone bought it. That was the usual with these country schools. When they were closed, they were put up for sale. Was that Mr. Walter Lewis's property down there at the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Did he move there? I'm thinking his granddaughter Jane built there, so that could have been his property, but I don't know that.
Right. Okay. All right.
When did this power line?
Oh,
When was the power line put in? This one right here.
the power line. Do you know probably what time they were put in? No. Okay. Well, the school was closed, you said, in 42, right?
43.
43, so definitely probably after that, I would guess. But anyway, okay. Well, we're going to sign out. We think we've covered it pretty well. And again, we appreciate Kendall spending time. And yes, in case you're wondering, we have a 97-year-old driving us around Lowe's Crossroads area, and we all feel very safe. Very much. Okay, we might go on a road trip one day. So, thanks again, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.